Yesterday, history was made. Israel officially recognized Somaliland as a sovereign state, the first country in the world to do so. For many in Somaliland, this moment feels like long-awaited validation after more than 30 years of de facto independence. But recognition is never free. Tonight we ask the difficult questions. Who truly benefits from this decision? What does Ethiopia gain? What does the UAE gain? And what risks, including existential risks, does Somaliland now face? This is not celebration, this is analysis. Let's start with Israel, because Israel pays the lowest price. Somaliland sits near Bab el Mandeb, one of the world's most critical maritime choke points. Any power with influence here gains leverage over global trade routes, energy shipments, Red Sea security. For Israel, recognition brings strategic depth far from its borders, intelligence reach across the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, a friendly foothold outside Arab League pressure. This is not primarily diplomacy, it is security architecture. At a time when Israeli leadership, particularly Benjamin Netanyahu, faces accusations and global backlash over Gaza, recognition of Somaliland signals Israel can still create new alliances. Israel's reward is high, its cost is minimal. Now to Ethiopia, the most consequential actor in this story. Ethiopia has over 120 million people and no coastline. Its leaders have repeatedly said landlocked status is unsustainable. Through Somaliland, Ethiopia gains reliable access to the sea, reduced dependence on Djibouti, strategic leverage over trade routes. But here is the key point. Ethiopia does not need to annex territory immediately. Economic corridors can replace borders. The demographic strategy risk. Ports require people. If Ethiopia sends port workers, sends logistics staff, sends security contractors, sends service providers, those workers bring families. Temporary settlements become permanent cities. Now compare the numbers. Ethiopia, 120 million, Somaliland, 6 million. Even limited migration can overwhelm coastal demographics over time. This creates a slow but powerful dynamic: economic dominance, demographic presence, political influence, and eventually a familiar argument: we must protect our people and our trade. This is how annexation happens without war. Now we come to the most dangerous flashpoint of all: Zayla. Zayla is Somaliland's western Red Sea port located in Awdal, distant from central authority, historically linked to Ethiopian trade routes. Ethiopian officials and historians have openly stated in the past that Zayla is Ethiopia's natural outlet to the sea, unjustly lost to colonial borders. Those claims never disappeared. They were simply waiting. Here's the realistic pathway. Ethiopia gains Berbera access. Economic expansion moves west. Zayla is developed as a secondary port. Ethiopian workers settle. Demographics shift. Security assistance is requested. Sovereignty becomes symbolic. No invasion, no tanks, just facts created on the ground. Zayla is more vulnerable than Berbera because it is underdeveloped, less internationally visible, politically peripheral. This is where borders change quietly. The United Arab Emirates already controls critical infrastructure through port operations. Israel's recognition shields UAE interests, strengthens an Israel-UAE-Ethiopia axis, turns Somaliland into a logistics node in a wider Red Sea strategy. Crucially, the UAE gains everything without formally recognizing Somaliland and without political backlash. Let's be fair. First, international recognition, psychological legitimacy, increased interest from investors. But now the cost: diplomatic isolation from the Muslim world. By aligning with Israel at this moment, Somaliland risks losing Arab League support, losing OIC sympathy, being framed as complicit while many accuse Israel of genocide in Gaza. For many Muslim-majority countries, this recognition is politically radioactive. Permanent hostility from Somalia, any future dialogue becomes harder, proxy destabilization risks increase. African isolation, the African Union opposes unilateral recognition of breakaway regions. Instead of opening doors, recognition may freeze wider African support, make other states afraid of separatism. Somaliland risks becoming a listening post, a military logistics hub, a target if Red Sea tensions escalate. And when tensions rise, small states absorb the shock. This is the uncomfortable truth. Recognition was meant to protect Somaliland's sovereignty, but under these conditions, it may do the opposite. History shows that small states do not lose territory suddenly, they lose it slowly, through dependency, through demography, through silence. And when the moment comes, the world says, this is just the reality on the ground. This was an in-depth analysis of this week's most important geopolitical development in the Horn of Africa. Thank you for watching. If you want deeper investigations, subscribe, share, and join us next week for another critical look at Africa's political and economic future. Until next time.